What's up, guys? Welcome to Podcast 412, Fight for Purity. A bold way of looking at challenges that young people are facing. We'll talk about the naked truth of life and how to handle the problems you're thinking but not talking about. So strap in, get ready for another great podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Podcast 412. We're on episode 3 of season 4. Wow. And Angelique is going to start us off with a fun fact.
Well, it's interesting. I'm just kidding. Well, I guess like with estrogen in our bodies is why women are smaller than men, for the exception of few. But just kidding. Like, I guess estrogen like inhibits or stunts our bone growth, and that's why like I guess like because men have more testosterone, that their hands are bigger and their feet are bigger, as well as he said something else I can't remember, but for most
part
their
feet, I think.
Yeah.
Well, she said
feet and hands.
Feet and hands. You were listening.
Maybe there's skulls, I don't know.
Yeah. So we're gonna continue our podcast on love. Why don't you mention what you were talking about real quick? Your little fun fact.
Oh, the other thing I saw that I didn't know that people could die from like literal heartbreak. It's a lot of times it's because their loved one was taken away, so the stress just was too much and they basically die. But it's very rare. I think only like 2% of people have died because of that. But still, it's sad.
Yeah.
Die from heartbreak.
It's true love, man. Can't live without them. Literally.
Yeah. So they checked out. So just real quick on review, we talked about 3 kinds of love last week: agape, phileo, eros or eros. I think it's eros, and then we didn't do one which was storge. So real quick, the agape love was pretty much like the highest form of love, the highest one. And then storge is like the parents' love for their children. And then basically like with your family. And then phileo was the love of friends and equals, sometimes referred to as brotherly or sisterly love. And then the eros is the passionate love. So put it simply. And that one, according to our definition, where we found it was only between the husband and the wife. And so just going back to that. And we've been doing this podcast for a year already. Yeah. For a year already. And I just want us to take us back. The reason we're doing it is because we wanted young people to know that this is something that you can do, and this is something that you should be doing. This is not just, we're not just talking about it just, to have conversation, but kind of challenging you guys to love, But I did want to talk about, what you guys think, which is the first love that you guys experience. What kind of love do you experience first? The agape, the storge, the phileo, or the eros?
The storge, because that's like that family, brotherly, sister love, right?
Yeah, the parents' love for children. Yeah, that's the very first one. When you come out of the womb, who's there to greet you? It's your family or your parents, your mother or your father.
I never knew my father.
But your mother was there. Yeah. She had to be.
Your mom had to be there when you were born.
Had to be there whether she wanted to or not.
She had to be there. But yeah, so that was the first love that we experienced. We experienced the love within the family. What's the second one that we experienced?
I would say that phileo.
The phileo
I don't know
love.
why I'm having like such a hard time.
I don't know how to say it.
Phileo.
The phileo love with your friends.
Phileo.
Your friends or your sister or
Like,
brother.
This is the love of
Bond,
friends
right?
and
The
equals.
bond.
Yeah. And then, so those are the 2 loves that you guys said was storge, which is the parents, and then the phileo is the love of friends and equals. So I'm going to ask you guys a deep question.
Oh, no.
What do you guys think? What do you learn, do you think, experiencing those first two loves? Or what do you think you're supposed to learn, or what are you supposed to get out of those first two kinds of love? Yeah.
How to love.
How to love, I guess.
How to love.
I think to like
Like, what do you learn, I guess?
I think like you learn how to like have a relationship, or at least you should. Like
With
how
people.
yeah. Oh my god, I'm joking. Like how to have a relationship with your family first.
Yeah.
That's Dorje, you know. I think they teach you how to like in the most basic sense, like how to like regulate yourself, you know, because like as a parent, you're always teaching your kids how to behave, you know. So I think like that first like that family Dorje love is just all about like how to function as a human being.
Yeah.
I think that's what that first love is about. And then I think that philia, that friendship, that kinship is how to create bonds with people and how to get along with people
Outside of your
your like family.
Yeah.
I think that's what those like are about.
Yeah. So I guess the first one is the instruction manual, and the second one is actually following the directions that you were told.
I like that.
Yeah, because the first one, like you said, that's where we learn, like, to love. Like, that's where we're taught. That's what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's not like that.
Where you're learning, like, by watching other people or how they love you, or how, like, you think that's how you learn, like, to forgive. Because you live with your family 24/7, you know. So it's like a everyday kind of thing. And then, like you said, and then you learn, I think you receive a lot of love in that first one.
You
know,
get a lot of
you
it,
get
yeah.
a lot of attention, and like you're supposed to, you know. And so that's where you learn your boundaries. That's where you learn, like,
self-control.
yeah, self-control. It's like a lot of things you learn you're supposed to learn. I don't think it's always true in our society, but that's where it's. And then, like you said, and then with friends,
You're learning how to give it, I think.
yeah, and then to give it with people that are different from you. They've been raised differently than you are. You kind of learn, like, you know, where your boundaries are too, and you know, learn to get along with people that are different than you. They've been raised different than you, and so I wanted to ask that, because what do you guys think is the most talked about or sought after love
I think
Arrow.
in society?
that Airos love.
Yeah.
I think that one it's because it's like it's the easiest to get to, I guess, because it's just like you said, it's about the passion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even then, like, it's, what is it? I don't want to say off-brand.
It's hyped up too much. Like,
Well, but what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? It's not like fake, but it's fake.
Oh, I see what you mean. Where it's not like love,
Yeah.
and like
So,
in the way we described it, it's the action, but not necessarily.
they're
the
not
definition.
getting what Eros truly is, like
Yeah.
how we mentioned that it's supposed to be between a husband and a wife.
Yeah.
So like that love is different than what you're
Yeah.
doing in the world.
Yeah,
Like,
well, it's
outside of that.
Yeah, I would say it's different between, like we were talking about the last season about being like a door and having multiple relationships.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like a knockoff love. There you
yeah,
go.
it's not. Yeah, it's not the same because it's with different people versus being passionate with a husband and a wife. It's the same person, so it's just different. I don't know how to like describe it, but it's different.
Well, because it's supposed to be. I don't think you really experience that Eros love outside of marriage. What you experience, like you said, is just a feeling. But if you don't invest into that relationship with that Eros love, it's going to be short-lived.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's something I think that people seek. Like you said, that Eros love, because it's the quickest one.
Yeah.
It's like, it's.
I think it's because it's like as far as like because he's like passion.
Yeah.
It burns hot.
Yeah.
But
Fire.
fire, but fire does not last like at all. Like it's quick, and like almost anything can make it go out.
Yeah.
It's like the honeymoon phase before all the problems started rising.
Yeah.
All the flaws start coming up.
Yeah. And even if you think about it as a fire, a fire goes out because you don't keep adding to it. A fire will keep going as long as you're adding fuel to it. But people, I think,
They light fires.
they light fires, but they don't know how to keep those fires because it's with that person, that person. You don't stay in a, I mean, you probably don't even have a, so you're not going to know the Eros, you're not going to know the Eros love without
Without filial love. I think.
filial love and the storge love. You're just not going to, because that's where you learn patience. Like, that's where you learn, like, to not be selfish. That's where you, because it requires some work on your part. It requires you to change. Sometimes when, a friend of yours or even a family member has a different point of view, you have to learn to kind of, deal with it.
Yeah.
And even in that storage love, if there's like a lot of broken families now, so they just see parents split up. They don't see families together working through the problems. It's just like quits,
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, I don't really know storage love. I had super selfish parents, so I didn't experience that. So for me, getting in relationships later, I don't know how to even have relationships with friends. Like, it was like all missing. And then you go to Eros, so you don't know how to do anything in a relationship. How not to be selfish, how to work out problems, how to talk, You don't, like, if you don't have this storage, you kind of, I don't know how you get that, like, later. I've been working through it. I guess when I had kids, it was different. So when I had my own kids, I loved them, and I would think, like, gosh, like, how could my parents not love me the way I love my kids? Because even with Aviana at 16, I loved her, and I wanted the best for her, and I wanted her not to go through things that I went through. But my parents, I don't know what love they were stuck in, but they were super selfish.
It was missing. Something was missing.
Well, it was selfish love.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't giving, it was just taking. And I was thinking about, we were talking today about that guy that was asking his friend, like, what it was like to have a father. And he's like, and the guy that had the father was like, I don't know.
It's
just-
like
Yeah.
it's so hard to
To
explain.
explain what
Yeah.
it is to have a dad.
Yeah, because you don't, like for some of us, you take that for granted. Like, and he was trying to explain it, and he goes, well, what did he, I mean, you can't say what he said, but
it's like, what is he? Was he just there when he came from school? And like, just like the simplest
well, you don't realize
thing.
what you're missing when
Yeah.
he's like, yeah. Yeah, and so like you said, because of that, it's like you don't understand, like, the love of a father. You don't understand the love of a mother, and if you're missing those things and you're going straight to Eros, man, you're missing it.
yeah, he was the mark.
Yeah, you're totally missing the mark, because you're not going to find, because I think that's what people are doing, is they're confusing that love with, like, the real, like, agape love. The family love, the friend love, because even that, is an issue. You have, like, we talked about toxic friendships, and so you don't even understand, and yet you're going straight to that thinking, because that's what our culture, like I said, is promoting. They're promoting the Eros, and somehow thinking that that's going to, like, bring you happiness or, feel something inside, but it's really not going to. It's because, like you said, it's the easiest one kind of
To get to,
but
it's also like the fastest to disappear.
to dissolve. Yeah.
Like it
Fizzles out.
fizzles out like real fast.
So when you try to get to the agape love, it's hard to even understand it when you've fizzled out so much, like you've been everywhere. So, like,
Almost believe that's not even real.
yeah, like sometimes, like I struggle with that, because I'm like,
There's no way.
yeah, like, how? yeah.
That's not has been my experience, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
so,
what
like,
you're saying.
that's why I think sometimes I'm like, well, like, I don't want to be married, or whatever. When I was talking in the last one, it's because, like, I'm like, can this really last forever? Can you really love someone?
Yeah.
I mean, well, as I have my kids, and sometimes it's like, gosh, can I love, like, my new baby like I love
your
my
kids already.
already? Yeah, and then I have step kids, but I love them just as much as I love my real kids. So I'm learning that, I guess, through my own family. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have it.
And I think that's the point that I wanted to make, is that, our society talks so much about love, but I feel like that's the only love they talk about. That's what's promoted in music. That's what's promoted on social media. Yeah, everything. It's just that love. It's like, like we always used to say to all my kids, music doesn't play when you fall in love. Because in the movie,
It's not all slow mo when you guys look at each other.
Like in Sleeping Beauty.
The lights.
I dance with you.
Because that's not realistic, but yet that's the
That's
love.
what's promoted.
Yeah, that's what's promoted. You're not gonna get to that love until you experience
The other ones.
the other ones.
It's like, I guess they're building blocks is what it is. They're all building blocks up to the final two.
Yeah.
Like Store J and the Phileo.
Yeah.
God.
Well, I guess that makes sense because like even when people start talking like in the church, like friendship is encouraged first to be able to build that. So it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because like we've said, like friendship should always be the basis of any kind of relationship.
Yeah.
It should just purely be your friends because like we've said it before, just like you got to learn like how to get along with people, and you got to figure out how because like we just said, like everybody grows up different. You got to figure out how they handle problems, how they handle stress, what happens when they get upset, how they handle their money, how they, like, because there are certain friends that you're friends with, but you're like, I cannot trust you with certain things, or I can't go to you with certain things, or like, I know that I shouldn't be around you when you're upset because you don't know how to handle your anger right, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, you don't get that until you have that phileo love.
Yeah.
You can have that storgy love, but like, you have to work at it, I guess, and then eventually,
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, that's why there's so many trust issues. I think we talked about that. I don't know if we talked about it, but there's such a big issue with trust, and just even the people just don't know how to like. They don't know how to like talk to each other. They don't know how to like to get along, especially like right now. People are so divisive. Like, you don't know how to let somebody else have a different opinion than yours. You don't know how to like agree to disagree. You have to like
Be on the same page about everything.
yeah. And it's like, well, that's people are different. We all have different mindsets, and so, but I feel like trust is like a big thing, and so, but yeah.
And that's a big thing to build during the phileo love stage, is what it is, during that bondship, and that you create bonds even when you're disagreeing. Like, there's a strength in that even then.
And I think even that's learned that, like, in the storge is, like, when your parents correct you, it's because they love you. So, like, you learn that correction doesn't mean they hate you. It's not rejection, So when you get to these other loves, you learn, like, my friend really cares about me because they don't want me to go down that path. But then when you don't have those, then you take everything as, like, offensive, or you're defensive, So that, and then you can't ever build relationships because nobody can correct you.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I always felt like I was always taught is like a real friend tells you what you need to hear, not what you want. And because that will help you grow up, really. That's
And then even that, you even have to learn to be able to take it.
Which is hard.
Yeah, because you don't like being told that.
Well, even like in work relationships, like if you're working underneath someone, you're going to need to be able to take constructive criticism without getting offended and wanting to quit every 5 seconds.
Trying to fight your boss. Fight your teachers.
Right.
Yeah. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that when we're talking about love in the future podcasts, you keep these in mind, because your idea of love is probably totally different. Yeah, it's probably depending on how you were raised, because if you were raised right, you were raised with boundaries, you were raised with respect, you were taught respect, you had good examples.
With trust.
Yeah,
you have trust.
The code of
Yeah.
conduct.
Yeah, you have conduct, your rules for the conduct, and
You have boundaries in your life, like you were taught to think for yourself and not run into the street, stuff like that, because all those things make a difference. And so as we move forward, we want you guys to understand, when we're talking about love, we're talking about those kinds of love, and just knowing that our world is promoting that Eros love, and so that's not the love that we're going to be focusing on. The one we're going to be focused on is the other ones, because those are the ones that you need
to make lasting relationships. Of any kind.
Yeah, those are the ones that you need, that are going to help you, and they're going to keep your marriage together, your family together,
I
you're
think
gonna
even like understanding what agape love is, because like if you have that, because family, everybody's gonna do you wrong, but like in the end, you're still gonna love your family, regardless.
yeah. So that's what we wanted to moving forward, and then we're gonna start just talking about different kinds of love, filial love, family love,
And how to figure it out if you're missing pieces.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
You know, how to get there.
yeah,
Yeah, and then you can experience the true Airos love
Yeah.
the way it was intended,
intended, not the way
not
it
the
is.
superficial
Yeah.
Airos.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So thanks for joining us, you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Join us for our next podcast. You can contact us through Instagram at podcast412 or email us at 412fight@gmail.com. See you next time.